Welcome to Catholic News World.
Welcome to Catholic News World. Please subscribe to our channel. My name is Steph. Here are this week's breaking news headlines.
The Catholic Church in India has pledged to build 600 homes for displaced families in Manipur following ethnic clashes. The Catholic Archdiocese of Imphal, in India, has started a housing rehabilitation project to help displaced families in Manipur following the outbreak of violence between the ethnic Meitei and Kuki in May 2023. In just over a year, violence has caused more than 200 deaths and left behind deep wounds. Tens of thousands of people are still homeless after fleeing their village to escape violence. For ethnic Kuki, who are mostly Christian, the Archdiocese is promoting the construction of 600 homes with a financial commitment of 5,400,000 rupees, around $6,000 US per unit. This is according to Father Verghese Velikakam, Vicar General of the Archdiocese of Imphal, who coordinates the relief efforts and reported by Asia News. Interethnic violence that broke out displaced more than 60,000 people. The Vicar General Father Verghese said, IDPs are hardworking people and with an intense desire to live in dignity and peace. Catholic priests from all over India are also raising funds for the project. To support these efforts, the Conference of Diocesan Priests of India launched the minimum of 500 rupees to Manipur challenge, inviting every priest in the country to raise that sum of money. The fundraiser will last until August 2024, with contributions allocated to the Archdiocese of Imphal, with the aim of completing the housing project by February 2025. The challenge is not only about rebuilding physical structures to replace hundreds of homes destroyed during the violence, but also to provide spiritual support to those who have suffered from the clashes. Many have settled in Singangat Parish, Churachandpur district, where the predominantly Christian Kukizo community are the majority. Another 45,000 people have taken refuge in Kangpokpi district. Catholic families lost some 1,200 houses in this parish alone, not to mention scores of homes located on the outskirts of Imphal. They lost everything: land, houses, vehicles and livelihoods, educational institutions, etc., added the Vicar General of the Archdiocese of Imphal. A fire on July 11, 2024, has damaged another historic cathedral in France. The cathedral was evacuated and emergency services were on site. However, the cause of the fire is still unknown, but it is thought to have been accidental. The tower of the Gothic Notre Dame Cathedral in Rouen, Normandy, which is the northern part of France, caught on fire. This was reported by French media. Images showed dark clouds of smoke rising from a part of the tower where construction work was taking place, about 120 meters, about 400 feet, above the ground. The fire appears to have started on Thursday afternoon. The French Ministry of Culture, as noted by the newspaper Le Figaro, said the fire was caused by mishandling by workers. 63 firefighters and 33 fire engines participated in the effort and authorities announced they had brought the fire under control in under 2 hours after an alert at noon local time. According to reports, this fire comes as France has suffered hundreds of fires and vandalisms at churches in the country, as shown by this map which displays the number of churches affected since 2016. The Rouen Cathedral was completed around the year 1250. It was in Rouen where Saint Joan of Arc died in 1431, during the 100 Years' War between France and England. 20,000 participated at Holy Mass in Brooklyn's Stadium to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the Neocatechumenal Way in the USA. In Brooklyn, New York, the Barclays Center hosted about 20,000 faithful, with Cardinal Christophe Pierre, the papal nuncio to the U.S., who was the main celebrant of Mass. He was accompanied by more than 300 priests and 12 other bishops from around the country, including Cardinal Joseph Tobin of Newark, Bishop Robert Brennan of Brooklyn, and Bishop Timothy Freyer, Auxiliary Bishop of Orange, California. On July 7, 2024, pilgrims, young and old, came from as far away as the Pacific Islands to participate in the once-in-a-lifetime gathering. More than 2,000 came from California alone. The Diocese of Brooklyn was represented by hundreds of people from several churches. The Neocatechumenal Way was founded in Spain in 1964 by two lay people, Kiko Arguello and Carmen Hernandez, and a priest, named Father Mario Pezzi. They wanted to find a way to bring baptized Catholics, who had strayed, back to the faith. The founders were also seeking to encourage Catholics to embark on a lifelong faith formation journey, and began proclaiming the gospel to destitute people in poverty-stricken areas of the country, inspired by the teachings of the Second Vatican Council. 10 years later, in 1974, Arguello and Hernandez came to the U.S., where they visited New York City at the invitation of Father James Donegan, pastor of St. Joan of Arc in Jackson Heights. The first Neocatechumenal Way community in New York was established in the Archdiocese of New York, at St. Columba Church in Manhattan. Father Donegan, who was later named a Monsignor, started a community at St. Joan of Arc. After 50 years, there are now 1,100 Neocatechumenal Way communities in the U.S. Bishop Brennan noted the Way's strong presence. "Welcome home," he told the faithful to cheers throughout the arena. "You belong here." The Neocatechumenal Way received the Holy See's official approval in 2008. The Vatican recognized it as a post-baptismal catechumenate and a vital instrument for assisting dioceses and parishes in their efforts to evangelize adults. During his homily, Cardinal Pierre said the Neocatechumenal Way is important because it lives out the Church's mission of opening the doors to people in all situations, including those trapped in the nightmares of addiction, violence, and despair, and leading them back to Jesus Christ. "God can open a way where it seems impossible," he added. Near the end of the Mass, an estimated 1,000 young men who felt the call to the priesthood and will discern entering the seminary stood up to receive a blessing from Cardinal Pierre. The Cardinal also blessed 1,500 young women who stood up and expressed their desire to enter a convent or enter into a mission. The Knights of Columbus announced that they will cover the artwork of ex-Jesuit, Father Marco Rupnik, who is suspected of abuse. They will cover up the mosaics in the chapel of the National Shrine of St. John Paul II, in Washington, and the chapel of the Knights headquarters. The Knights of Columbus are one of the world's largest Roman Catholic lay associations for men. They run the National Shrine, in Washington, D.C., among other things. They ordered an investigation into the situation of the priest's abuse due to the large-scale Rupnik mosaics in the chapel of the National Shrine and in their own headquarters in New Haven, Connecticut. The ex-Jesuit Marco Rupnik was an internationally renowned mosaic artist until he was discredited for sexually and spiritually abusing a number of women. In many places, the allegations are considered very credible, but the Vatican has not yet laicized him, and he is currently in Slovenia. On July 11, 2024, after completing the review process, the Knights of Columbus came to a decision. The Knights of Columbus have decided to cover these mosaics because our first concern must be for the victims of abuse who have already suffered enormously in the Church and who may be further harmed by the continued visibility of the mosaics in the sanctuary. Shrines are places of healing, prayer, and reconciliation. They should not cause victims further suffering, Patrick Kelly, the Supreme Knight of the Knights of Columbus, said in the July 11 statement. Along with concealing the mosaics, the Knights of Columbus will immediately implement several pastoral measures to express the Knights' solidarity with victims of sexual abuse, according to its statement. Those measures include having petitions in all shrine masses for victims of abuse. The decision is rooted in a foundational purpose of the Knights of Columbus, which is to protect families, especially women and children, and those who are vulnerable and voiceless, said Kelly. He emphasized that because the Knights are committed to sharing the gospel, the art we sponsor must therefore serve as a stepping stone, not a stumbling block, to faith in Jesus Christ and His Church. It is clear to us that, as patrons of a national shrine, our decision must respect this country's special need for healing. The Vatican's dicastery for the doctrine of the faith is still investigating the allegations against Father Rupnik. Please pray for this situation.
Watch our programme every Friday at 7:30 p.m. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to Catholic News World channel. God bless.
Please subscribe to Catholic News World's YouTube channel. Thanks and God bless.